All right, welcome to week 8. We're doing a audience request day, apparently. So procedural generation. It's a big topic, and you can sort of procedurally generate a lot of different things like landscapes and worlds and mazes and things like that. I've got a demo somewhere on here where I made a game where you're running down a street and it is dynamically making a street in front of you, with forks and things like that. Just kind of fun. The way that works is, let's see if I can remember how I do that off the top of my head. Game, no, not you, no. Anim starter pack, mannequin, no. Bill. So let's go ahead and make a new. I want to do this. Or we can. What are we talking about? Like randomly creating spawn points and things like that. So you could make a blueprint that is just a where are you? Target point, and so you can put target points kind of around the world, and look at that frame rate drop. Go on, come back, thank you. And so what you can do is you can make you can just put points around the world where you want the things to spawn. And then your blueprints, you can, I'd probably convert this into a, let's delete you. Where'd the other one go? There it is. It's floating in midair. So I probably can convert it to a blueprint class. And then, let's see here, you. So there's nothing special about it. It's just literally a point. And this is actually kind of useful just in general if you want to just like name different things, like the waterfall. You just put a target point over the waterfall, and then in the world outliner you can always just come in and be like double click and it'll just zoom you to the waterfall, right? So what you can do is you could create a target point there. Target point, turn into a blueprint, target point blueprint. Sure. No models on it. It's just a spawn point. Nothing in it. Unless you want them generating monsters, I guess. Which you could do, I guess. It's one way of doing it. Another way is just having it be empty. And then inside of your level blueprint, where'd you go? Blueprints. The level blueprint, you can do things like graph, tick. So every tick you can random, come on, there you go. Random, nope, come on. Random, thank you. Random float. So that could be between 0 and 1, yeah. And so what you can do is it's going to be based on the frame rate. Multiply times delta seconds. So this is going to this is not exactly what I want, but it's close enough. So let's say that we have a 10% chance every second of making a new monster, right? So we've got some variable that's going to be, let's make a variable called spawn chance. And so the level blueprint, by the way, is for the entire world. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. Maybe I should go back out and show you real fast. That's under blueprints. You can choose level blueprint, and then that's actually a blueprint attached to this level. Rather than being on like a particular actor within the world. So this will randomly generate a number from 0 to 1. It'll get multiplied by delta seconds. So if you're getting 10 frames a second, it'll be multiplied by 0.1. If you're getting 100 frames a second, it'll be multiplied by 0.01. And this isn't mathematically accurate, but it's good enough for government work. And what we'll do is do a branch and say if this is less than, if it is less than, let's see, or greater than, less than, it's less than or equal to some threshold. No, wait, it's going to be, it's always going to be small, right? Because we're multiplying it by a small number. So, no, let's do it the more proper way. The math doesn't make sense that way either. So what you can do is, there's a couple different ways of doing a timer, right? I'll just do the basic way. And so we're going to make a variable called last spawn think, and I guess we make these public, why not? And so we can get the value of last spawn think, and if the time, get time, if the time is greater than or equal to the last time we thinked, plus let's make another variable called think delay, and we'll drag that one out as well. Get think delay, compile, save. So once a second, we will see if we can spawn a monster. Let's do that. So once per second. Or maybe, yeah, once a second is good enough. So we will add together think delay and last spawn think. So if it has been more than a second since the last time we tried thinking if we should spawn or not, then congratulations, we will try to spawn. So branch. So if it has been more than a second since the last time we tried spawning a monster, then the branch will be true. If it's false, we don't do anything, we just ignore it. If it's true, then we will set spawn think to be the current time. And so this is a very simple way of just having something activate once a second. A better way of doing it would be to create a timer, and there's other ways of doing it as well. So, okay, so now, this code here is going to simply, this will come out here once a second. And so we can like print to the string to screen, hello. And so as always, I always start by just counting things and seeing how that goes. Just seeing if it works the way that I think it works before I get any further into it. For being on an SSD, this thing is not fast. There we go. Hit play. Hello? 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 I've got the snowman here saying whether or not it'll jump to the right or to jump to the left to avoid me. Let's turn that off. And so you can see that it is in fact printing hello once a second. So the level itself is printing hello to us. Okay. So let's go ahead and get a couple of those points. What do we call it? Target. So target point blueprint. So we can, let's create a few spawn points, I guess, for things. Let's put one here, and you don't technically have to do it this way. You could actually have it just randomly generate a random point on your map, but that can get dicey if it spawns inside of a closet or something. So we got one here, and then Let's duplicate it and put it over the lake. So the lake one we'll call lake spawn. And this one over here we will call lake hill spawn. And let's just make one more for good measure. We'll put it over the waterfall. So. Okay. All right. So this one we will call Waterfall Spawn. Okay. So we've got a couple of spawn points here. And you can use this trick with target points. If you're going to like procedurally generate a maze, what I did was I had chunks of a maze and I had target points on them. And what I would do is when I spawned it, when the user got close enough to see the edge of the maze, what it did was it would search for the target spawn point and it would attach another random chunk of maze to that point. It create a new entity and attach it there. Then you walk through that maze. You got to an exit. It would attach a new chunk of, and it would despawn things as you ran through it. So it's sort of infinitely generate a maze as you're running through it. Not like a maze you can solve, but more like a maze to run through and fight monsters in and stuff like that. So, okay, so we got our 3 spawn points here. The class is called Target Point Blueprint. Okay, so let's go back into the first-person example map. And we are, rather than printing hello, we are going to get all actors of class. Get all actors of class with tag, not just with class. Okay, so that does require the white arrow. Cool, actor class, and we're going to choose, what do we call it? Target Point Blueprint. Okay. So do you see how this is working, Rosenberg? So I've that's why I made it a blueprint class, was just so that it would be its own class. Rather than finding every target point in the world, I could create target point. I probably should name it like spawn point. Let's do that. Let's delete you and come back out here. Target point blueprint. I'm going to rename you to be spawn point. Maybe barrel spawn point? Yeah, let's do that. Let's spawn some barrels. Barrel spawn point. I've done that before with you guys, I think, doing Donkey Kong kinds of stuff. So anyhow, so all 3 of these places are now called barrel spawn points. Cool. And all they are is just a point in space. And then I come out of here and say get all actors of class. And so all of these guys, barrel spawn point. Target point blueprint. Oh, that's still in there? It's always dicey when you rename things. Let's make sure that we saved everything back here. Save all. Okay. So what it's going to do, this is going to return an array. So anytime you see a blue square like that, it's going to return an array. And so what we're going to do is we're going to randomly pick one of those spawn points. And probably we should roll under the spawn chance as well. But for now, we'll just pick one of them. So get... So we will get from this array. So it's going to return 3 things. We're going to get a random one. So let's do a random integer in range from 0 to 2, because there's 2 of them. If we want to do this better, we would get the size of it. Like that. And so basically this is going to get a random, I wonder if there's a random, yeah, random array item, even better. Perfect. Nice. Don't have to do that. We'll just get a random element. Cool. So we're going to get a random spawn point, and then we are going to, we can grab the point of that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to spawn an entity. spawn actor, spawn decal. Let's see here. Set spawn chance. Let's see. Create actor. What's the name of the thing to create an actor? Oh, there it is. Weird. Okay. I don't know why that didn't show up before. Spawn actor for class. And so we are going to spawn a barrel. Oh, we need to make a barrel, huh? Don't we? Okay. For now, let's just make a chair, maybe? I don't know. Does that exist? No, it's not a class. None of these are very useful for us. Trigger box? No. Okay, so we're gonna have to make a new thing real fast. So let's do this. Create a new blueprint class. It's going to be an actor in the world. It's going to be called Barrel. Come into here.
I saw that only Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Fridays, girl. Fridays is my advanced class. So I'm just going to add a cylinder like this, and I shall rotate it sideways. That.
Why sideways?
Because I want it to roll. Simulate physics is turned on. Make sure this scene root is good. All right. So physics is on. Collision. Generates hit events, yes. Generate overlaps, why not? It's a physics actor. All right, cool. And then the material we will pick for it should be some sort of wood. Oak, maybe. There we go. All right. So we got a barrel. And let's just try dropping that into the world just to make sure that it is roughly the right size. Sure, why not? There. Hit play. There's unresolved compiler errors, really?
Unresolved compiler.
Oh, yeah, because I haven't done this yet. Okay. So we're going to spawn a barrel. There we go. Spawn a barrel, spawn transform, that is the transform to spawn the thing with. All we really care about is the location. Collision, handling, override, now instigator, doesn't matter. So we need to create a transform. And so location, rotation, and scaling, all concepts we talked about last time, right? Last semester. So we'll get the location of it. Get world location of the I don't think it's going to matter. And so we're going to pop that into there. Default scaling, default rotation. The location will be that of the spawn point. Okay. So what we're going to do is we've now created spawn points around the world. And we're going to randomly pick a spawn point, and we're going to spawn a barrel at that point. So that should be good to go. Hit play. And you can see the physics are working there.
But how come they're so...
It's randomly spawning them. So sometimes it spawns on the hill there. It's going to sometimes spawn in the air. Right
walk around. Walk into the water.
No. There it is. There we go. It's randomly picking those. And then some of the time it is going to be spawning in the waterfall. So you can see
water slide. It's a dangerous water slide, Dad.
You can see the barrel running down the rapids there. There you go. It's spawning new barrels.
No.
I should probably add a buoyancy component to it so that they float on the surface of the water. You can see those things bouncing down the river, which is really kind of funny. You want to walk around? Okay. Okay, so that would be a random spawning session.
What the heck? Why?
Huh?
Why?
That's the cherry. That's my guard. I didn't have a mannequin at the time. So.
You didn't have a mannequin at the time? Here, let me show you how to wear it as a mannequin.
Oh, you added it to the door. Nice.
This is a mannequin.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Right there.
Yeah, I should have used that as the guard, huh?
Wait,
How did you add the door?
How in the world did you not notice it?
I don't know, girl.
How did you not notice it?
Pretty cool that you added that, though.
I just found it, and I think it was a tab that was already open, and I found it.
Okay. So my daughter built this whole area up here. Okay, so
Get rid of that plate, please.
watching Skyrim NPCs fall from high Hrothgar. Yeah. So okay. So how do you do? And so you can see that it is just randomly.
Why is that so clear?
Hmm?
Oh my! It's like watching fireworks. Dad, go into the water. Go into the water. Why is it so dark?
Because you're underwater.
It doesn't need to be that dark, Dad. It really doesn't. It means water's like scream. Dad, you might as well put stairs there.
If it spawns on top of another thing, then it creates a problem. So I need to. Yeah.
Wait, go on top of where they're going to spawn.
It's a good day to
Look.
die.
Why is it good to get to die? Why are you saying that?
The sun is beating down upon me. And you can see it's just making one barrel after another. Yeah. And so for the barrels, I probably should add in a thing, right? Like
Limit only 3
limit
barrels.
lifetime on it, maybe. Dormancy, lifespan of 1 second. Let's see if that works.
Please.
Always spawn, ignoring collisions. So if there's something there already, adjust the location. So it's gonna. So when it spawns, rather than spawning inside of another thing, which causes those weird explosions and things like that, what it's gonna do instead is it'll find the nearest open spot to spawn in. So you see how they're only lasting for a second now? The barrels last for a second and then they vanish. Because I gave them a lifetime of a second. So let's make it more like 30 seconds. That seems more realistic. So that way they don't, because you have to be very careful with that. If you don't ever unspawn things like that, and so every second that goes by, you're making more and more things in the world, eventually it will fill up with barrels. And it will slow down your frame rate. You're going to have thousands of barrels in the world. Where was I?
Why is there a tree there? Why is there a tree?
I don't know. So if I were to change the think delay from 1 second to 0.01 seconds, then
Did it like blink, blink, blah, 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 blah,
yeah, then you can see
blah,
I could probably tank my frame rate by doing that. And if I never unspawn them, then the game would probably crash or become unusable. So there you go.
You feel like chocolates falling out from the sky. I feel like chocolates getting flung. That shoots some of the barrels. How come you can't shoot?
I don't know.
Wait.
I mean, okay, that is kind of cool actually.
How come you can't? How come you're not shooting it?
I don't know.
You shoot.
That's a good question. All right.
There you go.
This is the next Donkey Kong Rapids game.
we could do the dog.
Let's game it out is great at demonstrating tanking frame rate of games with things that never despawn. Yeah.
Why did you put something like...
That's the Holy Grail, girl. That's the source of the water. So, there you go. We got infinite wooden barrels coming down the pipe. Okay, so, there you go. Let's get back to the lecture. So, how do you... Okay, Ada. It's looking a lot like that scene from The Lion King with the buffalo. Yeah. Ada, have you ever seen The Lion King?
Yeah.
You know the scene where the father gets run over by the buffalo? It's like that. And you see that as time goes on, they will despawn. Yeah, you saw one of them popped over right there. Kind of neat. Kind of fun. All right. So, if you wanted to randomly make a maze, how could you do that? Well, how about we make a barrel that mutates and grows? That could demonstrate. Yeah, you want to do that? All right. So let's turn the spawn rate down. Let's turn the spawn rate. Think delay. Let's turn that to like, I don't know, 4. Once every 4 seconds, it'll make one. Okay. And do you guys see how this works? Like I could just copy and paste those spawn points, and the more spawn points I put on the world, the more spawn points I put on the world.
What is that?
He's trying to jump over a hay bale.
What's a hay bale? What's a hay bale?
They roll up hay, and he's trying to jump over it.
Oh my gosh.
He's going for a classic GIF animation. Okay, so yeah, and so if I just copied and pasted those spawn points around, it would just create more and more places where the barrels would be spawning from. So let's have you wanted to see randomly generating a maze. I will do so by having the barrels randomly grow and mutate. How about that? Does that sound fun?
Yeah, make them spawn because I want to rise up into the sky. So
Oh, you like the big fountain of barrels?
No. Put them. Like put the barrel. It's gonna get bigger, and that means it's gonna get taller too. So I want to like somewhere near it so I can jump on it when it's so low enough for me to jump on it, and then it's going to rise.
I see. So when you touch the barrel, you want it to start floating into the sky.
No, that's not what I did, but that would like.
Okay.
That was not true.
So here we have the barrel class. And so what we can do here is add a new component. What do we want to add here? I guess we can just do a target point here. Does it not have a target point? Point light? Scene root, add a component. Point light. So target point is not in here. Attach 1, and this one will be on that end of the barrel. And then we will copy and paste it and attach it to the side of the barrel. So I'm creating different places where we can attach things to the barrel. Let's see, that's pretty good. Attach point 1, attach point 2. Yeah, let's just do that for now. Okay. So this is basically what Rosenberg was wanting to see, right? He wanted to see the ability to dynamically attach things to each other. Scene components is a scene transform can be attached to other scene components. Okay. And so this one is pointed this way. This one is also pointed that way. So I want to rotate that. So I want to rotate it. I want to rotate it 90 around the. Yeah. So you guys see what I did here? So the first attach point, the x-axis is pointing out this way. For the second one, the x-axis is pointing out that way. That way I can get the rotation out of the thing and have it, the new thing that I attach will be pointed in the right direction. And I can do this a couple more times to create more attachment points. You can do this trick to make trees and things like that. But this will suffice to demonstrate the point. So compile and event graph, event tick, and let's do we do a timeline, we can do a timer, do a multi-gate. Let's not even use event tick. Let's begin place. When we're created, we will delay for 1 second. So when we're created, we will delay for 1 second, and I will right-click, promote that to a variable. Do you guys know about that? So if you have any numeric constants, you can just right-click, promote to variable. Then you don't have to click on the little cheek light to change the type, and the name is often pretty good too. So duration, cool, and it actually will pick up the default value as well. It's a little bit faster than making a variable. So that will make a 1 second delay that is editable, and then we will spawn an actor. Let's see, what do we want to do? Oh, we want to spawn an actor from class, and we're going to pick the barrel class. We're going to attach another barrel to us. So this is going to become recursive, and it will become very horrible, which will be amazing. Okay, so we're going to spawn a barrel, and we're going to get the transform of one of the 2 points. So we're going to random boolean here. So what are we going to do? If it's heads, we do attach point 1. If we do tails, it's attach point 2. Okay, so we're going to need a branch up in this business right here. Before we do that, we're going to do you. And let's see, how do we want to do here? So, okay, so if it's true, then we're going to get the transform of attach 1. Will this work? No. So we'll pull out attach 1, and we will do get transform. So we get the transform of the first attachment point. And if it's false, then Control W. If it's false, then we will do the if it's false, then we will get the transform of the other point. And so it's going to spawn a barrel either at point A or point B. And because I'm getting the transform of it, you see how I rotated it so it's pointed out this direction. The second barrel will come out pointing, hopefully, on that. It might overlap it. And with the physics engine, with physics turned on, they might explode. So maybe, because they're going to intersect each other. And then the physics engine tries to resolve conflicts by moving the things out of the way.
Yay.
And so this is actually probably not going to work. But it will probably be funny. So let's try this. Let's try this. Yeah. No. Hang on. Make sure everything's set over here. All right. So we're going to spawn a barrel once every 4 seconds. And then the barrels are going to, when they spawn, have a 1 second delay. And then they're going to attach a new barrel to themselves, either here or
what
there.
About...
Let's see. Add child actor components, probably the better way of doing it.
What do you mean add child? What does it mean by add child?
Is that what I want to do? Get all child actors. Are you a child actor, Ada?
I'm not an actor. I'm not acting as a child. I am one.
Child actor component. Let's just try this for now. It's not going to work, but it'll be funny. And why does this thing keep... Ada, stop. Stop. This thing keeps wanting to save over and over again. Let's close you. Alright. Hit play. So there, see how it's appearing, and then the physics engine tries to resolve the... So every time a barrel appears, it spawns another barrel. And then... Yeah. And so half the barrels are appearing on one face, and then... No. Then half of them appearing are on the side. Whoop. Like I said, it's not exactly what we wanted, but it's actually really funny. And so you can see we're getting some exponential growth over there. Every time we make a barrel, it makes another barrel, and that barrel makes another barrel, and that barrel makes another barrel. And you can see, even though this thing is only activating once every 4 seconds, it is actually creating quite a few barrels as a result of it.
Dad, I want to see. You know how you see how turn the camera. Dad, turn the camera. You see how it's like doing it? I wonder if we can like get high if if we keep continuously jumping on them.
Alright. So yeah, so let's just double check that the level blueprint has the think delay of 4 seconds. Yeah, so it's only spawning a new barrel every 4 seconds. But because these things are spawning inside of each other, then the physics engine takes over and causes them to explode. It's really funny. Come Carol Bomber. Comrades. Roll to victory. Yeah. But that's sort of the general idea. Do you see how that works, Rosenberg? So you can create different attachment points, and then I would have to make sure that the barrel, its origin, see how the origin of the barrel is here? So what's happening is that the origin of the new barrel is going to be here, right? Or the origin of the new barrel is going to be here, and that's the middle of the barrel. So what's happening is it's spawning the barrel inside of the other barrel, and so the engine is moving it out. So if we were to turn off collisions, we can probably do this. Let's see here. RT. Why is it called RT? That's a dumb name. Let's see here. Physics, sure. Simulation generates hit events, generate overlap events, collision presets. Let's just set it to not collide with things. Let's just try that. See how that works. And of course, the map needs to be resaved. Why does the map need to be resaved? I literally changed nothing on you. Maybe it's because I'm modifying the barrel class. I don't know. Okay. Here we go. Aha! There we go. Yes.
Dad.
Yes. Yes.
Dad, jump on top.
So it is procedurally generating a barrel tree. We have alien sculptures now. Did I make a spawn point there? Is that what happened? Oh, it's because I put a barrel there, right? So the barrel is spawning another barrel. That's funny. Okay, yeah. And and so it is random. It is randomly.
Then jump on top of it, please.
Can't. There's no collision. I turned off collision.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Why? Because that's what I wanted to see. Right.
I want to see both. I want to be able to jump on it and it's going to be sticking together.
Do you anymore? If I wanted it to work correctly, then I need to attach it as a child, and I'd have to make sure that the points that I'm attaching at have enough room, and it's kind of a little bit more work than it's needed to have the ability to stand on that. What I really wanted to show is just that ability to randomly grow things in different directions. You can use that approach to make trees and mountains and all sorts of procedurally generated things. Just put in more spawn points, put in more, make sure the things you're attaching, you don't have to attach a barrel to a barrel, even though it does become recursive that way. Collision handling override. Don't spawn if still colliding. Always spawn, ignore collisions. Always spawn, ignore collisions. Turn off physics. Turn on physics. Let's see. What do we want to do here? Collision presets. It will block, but what do we want to do here? Okay, so we want collision enabled, no collision. Some all block dynamic, overlap only, pawn object. What do we want to do here? Overlap all dynamic. Okay, so by default we'll block nothing. By default we'll block nothing, but we will block pawns. I think that's what Ada wants, right? So we want the people to be able to run into them, but otherwise it's going to ignore everything. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay.
And let's have it. If we had more spawn points, it would look a little better. Let's have it happen every 0.1 seconds. This thing is going to grow real fast then.
Okay. Can I?
Yes, go for it. How's that frame rate? How's that frame rate?
Terrible.
Take a look. Take a look. Take a look to the left. Turn to the left. Turn to the left. Turn to the left. Nope, too far. Turn to the right. The frame rates. The frame rates. Nope, too far, girl. Too far. You've encountered exponential growth.
Dad, I can't do it.
Kearney, we don't know if you're talking, but if you aren't, we can't hear.
Dude, how does that keep going out? When did you lose me? A minute ago?
Probably like just after we started running it.
All right. Yeah, so it's making alien sculptures.
It looks like the default Mac screensaver with the pipes.
With the pipes, yeah. And so it's randomly picking either ahead or it's picking to the right. Okay. Why does this stupid here get up, girl? This thing is so annoying. Like, you spend $140 on a microphone and then the thing just loses.
It's because of me.
It's not because of you. Did you hit it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Like how I messed with the microphone in the past.
Yeah, it's not really your fault. It's the company. Okay. So what else can we do with this? We can add a few more. We can add a few more spawn points to it, I guess. That can make it a little more interesting. So we got 1 point on the top. We got 1 point on the side. Let's go ahead and make another one on another side. See, that's a little bit off the top. It's off the side now. Where's it so? Can you show how to export a finished game? Sure, absolutely. Alright, so we will duplicate this and create attach 3. And attach 3 we'll put at 50, 0. Attach 1 is at 0, 50, 0, 0. Attach 2 is at 0, 0, 50. Attach 3 is at 0, 50, 0. So that will be a third attachment point. And so we'll get a 3D sculpture this time instead of a 2D sculpture. So it'll randomly pick either the X, the Y, or the Z direction to attach the new thing in. Y, and then we want this rotated over this way. Okay. So we've got 3 different points now where it will randomly attach, and you notice I'm transforming it so that the new thing will point out from the direction. Rotation 449, that's weird. Okay. So we got 3 attachment points now, and it is really easy. I'll show you in just 1 second. And so rather than this, let's see, is there a better way we can do this? Because it's the same thing. Let's see. So the transform will be, get we randomly pick between 3 things. Yeah. There's got to be a better way of doing this, but random integer in range. Number from 0 to 2. It's because this thing isn't an array. It's kind of annoying. Get so if a random 0 is rolled, it will do this one. If it rolls a 1, it will do this one. And if it rolls anything else, then it will do Control W. This one, and rather than attachment point 2, we're going to get attachment point 3. That'll work. I'm not happy with it, but it'll work. So it's going to randomly roll a number from 0 to 2, and then it's going to switch on the result. Like I said, this is all duplicated code, so a better way of doing it would be to randomly get one of these transforms, but it'll work. All right, so save all. You can see the thing is now growing in 3 dimensions. Oh, what happened to those guys? There we go. So it's creating a 3D sculpture now. And so to make a maze, Rosenberg, do you see how like a maze would be basically the same thing, right? Like you just do the same idea, but you just slap down some walls and things like that. Or if you want to attach things to a gun, then you just add a couple points like that, and then you can attach a model to your gun or whatever. It's kind of fun to watch, huh? My frame rate's dipping for sure. Got all these alien sculptures in the world. Keeping it all connected and able to navigate. Yeah, the way that I designed it was that there's always a couple ways out from every segment of the maze, and then it would just rotate. So all of the things when spawned, the origin was an open doorway, right? So you'd have a spawn point, and then when you spawn the new tile, there the tile's origin was always a doorway, so it always connect. And then there would be different random tiles, but all of them would have an open doorway there. And then as you walk through it, if you ever get to another open doorway, then it would spawn another tile in that direction. And it would dynamically delete the old ones. And so you could run back where you were before, and it'd actually be a different maze. And so it'd just be the sort of infinite maze you can run around in. And then, you could randomly have it be, 1 out of every 20 is the boss or whatever, or you have a counter that every 20th tile that you spawn has a boss in it, and it's a big arena, and you have a big boss fight, and you go out a door, and it will randomly start spawning a new thing. So there's different ways of doing that, but that's pretty straightforward, I think. So do you think you guys could do that for your next assignment? Have some sort of procedurally generated thing, like a maze or a gun attachment or something like that, like first person weapon. So you can, maybe add a attachment point to the gun or whatever. Create a blueprint, attach some things to it. Potentially. I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Okay, so Sibilia, before, just think about that for a second. So Sibilia, you were talking about packaging your project, right? And so basically, I could just come in here and say package project. Let me make the barrel a little more interesting. I'm gonna make it spawn a little bit faster. Let's see if that completely tanks my frame rate or not. Should be fun though. Okay. There we go. So 5 times a second, it's making a new barrel. Jump on and stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so if I wanted to make this an actual game, I'm gonna save all. And then I'm going to go down here and package project for Windows 64. And I'm going to make a release folder or something like that. Select folder. And then it's going to do that. So it's going to make a standalone executable that I could then send to my friends and stuff like that. Okay. There's also the zip up project, which you can, it'll just zip your folder basically, and you can send that over to your friends. Packaging settings. Nothing interesting here. Share material, shader code. Probably want to target it for shipping, when you're ready to send it out. Yeah, the defaults are pretty good. So this will run for a while, and when it finishes, you'll have an executable basically that you can send to your friends and run. It packs it all up. It packs all your assets up for you. And yeah. And so all of those are going to be put into the same folder so that you don't have to worry about sending your game out and then not having a map or sound file or something like that. All of it gets baked into a directory. And so it will be Jump Explorer. Things vanishing. What's going on here? Spring 2021 release. Still working on it. Yeah, but all this stuff will be in this folder here that I selected. So what it's going to do, it's going to go through, find everything that I need, that it needs. Anything that you don't need, it's not going to put in there. So like the assets that I'm not using shouldn't probably go in there. Yeah, this is going to run for a while. So, any other questions? You can then mod your game later. Yeah, it's just like a Valheim, right? Like, I've been looking at modifying Valheim. That might be a fun project for you guys. I don't know. But there's this tool here called Tiny Ripper, and what it will do is open up a asset. For this is Unity, not Unreal Engine, but same general idea. And it will open up one of their there it is, shared assets, assets, and you can see how it's been packaged for release. And so what I've been interested in doing is finding inside of here audio clips. I've been trying to find the audio clip for deer, because deer in Valheim are super, super annoying. So I've been trying to find where the deer sound is. Haven't found it yet. Fat monster. That's fat monster there. Fishing, fish monster, flames, flamethrowers, flap, deep snow, forces moving, ghosts, giant ant, giant beetle, heat creature, hit big metal punch. Yeah, and so basically the upshot is that all of these things are packed into a file. And they're third-party tools you can use to unpack them, and then you can sit there and go through the things and look at all the different assets they have in Valheim and modify them if you want. All the different animations and yeah. So that's kind of how modding works in a game that doesn't support modding. Is you just find the data files, and they're usually in some sort of understood file format. For example, in Quake. Quake has a pack file format, .pak. And so there's all sorts of tools that will unpack, and when you open it up, it's just like, it's a directory file system. But it just makes it easier to distribute games. So what you can do is, like what they did for Quake was they would distribute it free of charge with pack 0, I believe. And that had all the demo stuff in it, so all the demo levels. And then when you bought the game, you would get the other ones, something like that. And and so you can distribute DLCs that way as well. You just release a single file that's the DLC, and the pack file goes out, and now they've got new levels and things like that. And if people want to modify things, then they have to unpack it, edit whatever file they want to edit, and then save it back into the pack file, and that's how people can mod files. But more commonly these days, Steam and all those things will enforce the integrity of these files, and so if you modify them, Steam will detect changes, and if a new patch comes out, it'll overwrite your changes. So it's a very kind of flaky way of modding. It's better for a game to just support modding, you know. Then there's the pack 3 format, which was used in Quake 3. FD Quake supports Quake 3 maps and all that stuff, so it supports the pack 3 file format as well. Pack 3 backup. Packscape, yeah, there you go. So here's a pack explorer. So if I launch that and hit open and come over to see Quake, id 0, pack 0, this is what a pack file looks like. And so it's got graphics.wad, which is what I think it uses to check for the registered version of a file. It's got progs.dat and QuakeWorld progs.dat. That's the compiled executable in Quake C. So Quake C is an interpreted language. You compile it down to a progs.dat, or QuakeWorld progs.dat for QuakeWorld. There was Quake and QuakeWorld. One was for LAN play, one was for internet play. Nowadays, everybody does that mostly. But like all the maps are in here, so you got your different rock. Oh, that's actually those are meshes more or less. And then you got models, more meshes, and things like that. Yeah, that one actually doesn't have any actual maps in it. And then graphics are textures, and so all it is just it's got a default config, so all your default WASD and all that stuff is, you know, set by default or whatever. So let's open up a different. Maybe pack 0 wasn't the demo one. Maybe it was pack 0 through 3, and then 4 was the release version. Let's try that. Yeah, okay. So E1, M1, E1, M2. So this is just the first level. So episode 1, levels 1 through 8, and start. So start is when you play Quake for the first time, it launches the start map by default. And then, so this would be the demo levels. So it's the episode 1 levels. After you finish it, it's like, hey, if you liked Quake, please purchase the full version. And then you can open up pack 4, and that's probably going to have the other ones. There you go. All the deathmatch maps, E2, E3, E4. So episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. And so that's how you can release big chunks of data, right? So it's always dangerous when you release a demo that has all of the your for sale stuff in it, because people will figure out how to play it. And so what they do is they just put all this stuff into a separate pack file, and it just makes releasing things easy. You know what I mean? So kind of like Skyrim's ESPs. Yeah, exactly. So Skyrim has 2 different pack file formats. It has what is it, ESM and ESP? Is that what it's called? Yeah. And so one of them is for like a full release, and the other one is like a mod of an existing release. And master files and then plugin files. Yeah. So an ESM is a master file that's like a full release, and then a plugin like modifies an ESM. And part of the reason why Skyrim isn't that fun to work with is because some things have to be within an ESM file, and so you have to like make your own. It's kind of annoying how it works. So it's got all the sounds and stuff like that in here. So the fish by you. There you go. Hell Knight. So does that make sense to you? So when you release your game, you just pack it up and send it out. And if you want to do a DLC, just make a new one and make that an add-on. And the game, when it loads, it'll just basically go through all the different pack files, right? So it just loads them all in, and that directory structure you saw within there is mirrored in the actual folder. So like if you're in the Fortress directory, you'll see, oh look, there's a maps directory, there's a progs directory, there's a sound directory. And so anything you have in your regular directories actually overwrites whatever is in the the pack files. So the pack file creates a virtual file system, but then if you have an actual file on disk, you can actually mod it very easily that way. So you can change the texture of something to be something else. And you can add more maps as well. So there is a maps directory in the pack file, but then the maps directory on disk will have lots and lots of additional maps as well. And you can see that Fortress has its own pack files in here. And so Fortress comes with, that's not very interesting, is it? Team Fortress comes with a few maps. Nope, those are just decorations. A few models. Yeah, the spanner. It's the wrench in Team Fortress. And it comes with some sounds. The ass cannon. Yeah. And so all the Team Fortress specific stuff was released in a pack file as well. And so as a mod, what it was they just basically had to release that. All the files they had were just kind of zipped up and pushed out. And then if people wanted to modify them or download new stuff, they could have it manually in a directory and actually have all the separate files and all that kind of stuff. So this is typically used for releases, and then the actual folders are used for modding and stuff like that. So, and that's more or less how it still works today. So, 7,000 shaders. That's higher than it used to be. Well, I guess we'll call it there for today. Any other questions you guys want to know? I mean, video games are big. It's a big world. Do you guys at least want to see how? I know somebody mentioned animation. Do you want to see how it works? We can do that probably in 7 minutes. That interests you guys? Okay. So while Unreal Engine's running, you can see that Unreal Engine has it has animations in it, and if you double click on them, it will give you an animation preview. But a question is, how do you make these things, right? How do you make an animation? Somebody could feasibly sit there and go through every keyframe and position the knee and the ankle and the toes and all that stuff, every keyframe. But I wouldn't do it that way. So the first thing you have to know is that back in the day, animations were literally done by just having a 3D, like a bunch of 3D meshes, right? So you'd have a 3D mesh of a person, and a 3D mesh of a person like this, and a 3D mesh of a person like this, and it would animate by just switching between the meshes. And that's a really kind of janky way of doing animations, right? 'Cause the frame rate's very low because you have a separate mesh kind of for each one. And you can't blend together different animations very well as well. If you want to jump while swinging your axe, you can't do it. And so the person will look like he's running in air while swinging his axe. So, you know, for the past, I don't know, 20 years, it's been around for a while, they do skeleton-based animation instead. So what you have is a skeleton, and the skeleton, aha, look at this. There are different bones within a skeleton, and the standard human is has got these different bones and joints in it and stuff like that. So the root is usually the origin of the mannequin, so that's 0, 0, 0 in local coordinate space. Then you got the pelvis, which is the sort of starting point of the spine. Spine section 1, spine section 2, spine section 3. And you notice how this thing is like indented, right? So off the pelvis is the lower spine and the left thigh and the right thigh. Okay, those are the three things that are attached to the pelvis. Left leg, right leg, spine. That's it. And so what happens, if you move your lower back, your head moves too, right? And if you move your lower back, your shoulders move too, right? If you move your lower back, your upper back moves too, right? And so that's why it is in a hierarchical system like this. So spine 1 is the parent of spine 2. If I were to move spine 2, my middle spine, you see how my head moves and all that stuff. If I move my upper spine, right, that moves left clavicle, right clavicle, right? Clavicle is the flat bone, or no, clavicle? Yeah. Scapula. Yeah. And then your neck is there. And I lost my camera. This is super cool. I don't know why these things are just flaking today. All right, so the neck is the child of the spine. So if I move my upper spine, my neck moves as well. And then my head is the child of the neck. So if I move my neck, my head moves around. And then nothing is attached to the head. Although if I had like a hat or something, the hat would be the child of the head. All right, so as my head moves around, the hat will move in the same way. Any transform I make to, let's say, the mid spine doesn't necessarily move the lower spine, right? If I move my head, that doesn't necessarily move any of the lower parts of my spine, right? And so moving a child is attached to a parent, right? Like my hand is parented to the lower arm, and the lower arm is parented to the upper arm. So the upper arm is the parent of the lower arm. As I move the upper arm, the lower arm moves too. Whatever transform I put on the parent goes to the child. But any transform I put on the child doesn't necessarily go to the parent, right? As I move the finger here, it doesn't move anything else, right? But if I were to move my shoulder, the finger moves. Do you guys understand that relationship, the parent-child relationship, kinematics? It's kind of a good starting point for understanding animation. If the root moves, everything moves. Yeah, if your pelvis moves, everything moves. Right? The root is just the origin, kind of. Yeah, but if you were to drag the person, yeah. And then the same thing goes with the thigh. The calf is parented to the thigh, and the foot is parented to the calf, and the ball of the foot is attached to the ankle, and the thigh bone is connected to the rib bone, and all that kind of stuff. So that is your skeleton. And so what you do is you when you have an animation, it's basically giving orders to the different bones in the human body. Does that make sense? It's like and you can blend animations together as well. So you can have somebody swinging an axe and jumping at the same time. So you could blend the jump animation and attack animation together as well. So let me, I got no time left. Let me just show you something kind of cool. And so there's this notion called rigging, right when it finishes. Nice. Okay, so there's this notion called rigging in animation. And so what you do is you'll get a human. Let's see if I have the software on here. Let's try this. Let's see if this still works. It might be expired. It's one of those things we've paid hundreds of dollars, but you don't actually own it. You get a license warning, and your license is expired. Great, cool. Thank you. Very nice. Okay, so here is a mocap studio. Okay, and so you can see there's the different bones in the human body. There's the pelvis, and attached to the pelvis is lower back, mid back, upper back, right? Clavicle, upper arm, lower arm, wrist, fingers, head, neck, head, upper leg, calf. Same bones, right? Same bones. And so what you can do is update is available. Cool. I don't care. All right. So what you can do is you can take a video of somebody and actor. So yeah, you need to know how tall they are and stuff like that. Here's all the different bones we saw there, and we can export. So here's how it works, and I've done this many times in the past with Olympians. Let's see if I can find it when I had it paid for. Because no matter how much you pay them, it's not permanent. Public directory? Yeah, okay, here we go. Nope, that's CSI 45. It's also CSI 45. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there we go. So I'm down at the Olympic Training Center in San Diego, Otay Mesa in San Diego, and working with Cirrus Hotzler, a javelineer for the Olympic team. And so what we did was we went out there and we motion captured him throwing a javelin, right? And so you can see that we've got a depth sensing camera, and so you can see the point cloud that we got here is grabbing his shape in 3D, and you can see it from different angles. And so we capture it, and then the mocap studio will fit the bones to the point cloud. So whatever areas that the thing senses his body, then it will match it'll match the bones. You can see the bones of his legs and things like that. You got the video in the background, and you got the 3D representation in the foreground there. And so you can see the video. Like if all you had was a video, that's all you'd have. But in this tool, it actually will generate a 3D skeleton. And then there's biomechanic analysis you can do on it to figure out how fast his hand's moving, how fast his joints are rotating, things like that. And you can see the location of all the bones and things like that. And so I recorded the video from different angles. So you can see different bones there from behind. And there you go. So you can see this is a javelineer. He's an Olympian, or was an Olympian. And you can see the bones are being fit to the point cloud. So kind of cool stuff. And what you do is you take that, again, my Simulia. So it's not inverse kinematics. Inverse kinematics is if I need to make my hand be here, then inverse kinematics will figure out the bones that need to be there. This is actually taking a video of a person. Here's IK actually right here. And I can move it around. So as I move the hand around, the IK tool will figure out where the bones can be to make that work. For this video stuff, what's happening is it's actually computing the location of the bones from the video. And then after you record, and this is obviously an animation as you can see from down here, you record the video, you fit the bones to the video, and it's not just video; it's a depth sensing video. So it records point data, depth, and everything. And then what you do is you export it, and you can export it to various various file formats and things like that. So. And so when you have your animation, you basically export the bones, and then you import the animation into Unreal Engine. And then you have to make sure the bones that you're using match the bones in here. Otherwise, it won't work right, obviously. But assuming that all the bones line up, the head's where the head's supposed to be, and the pelvis is where the pelvis is supposed to be, and so forth, then basically you can just make a new animation real easy. So rather than you having to animate it, you just get a person to run. Okay. So that's the short form of the animation lecture. All right, so let's see if this thing exported successfully. Close out of Unreal, didn't I? Library. Release. Okay, so Sevilla, this is what it looks like when you finish your release. So you just got an executable, and you got a pack file that's 7 gigabytes. 7 gigabytes, my lord. And it's got the executable, it's got a DLL, some other ogborbus and stuff like that. Yeah, so you just give this to your friends, and you double click it, and then the game will launch when it loads. And you can just zip that up. It's coming up on the wrong monitor, whatever. You've seen it before. So it's just the game here, but it's full screen. It's not in an editor or anything like that. And so it's literally just like you hit play, except it's full screen mode. And yep, it's just the same thing you've seen before. So there you go. That's how you export things. That's kind of the 10-minute version of animation, and lets you do procedural generation. So next week, procedurally generate something. I don't care what. A maze, weapon attachments, whatever. And that'll be your assignment for next week. Okay? So maybe next week we can do AI. I know I was kind of planning on doing it this week, but either way, I take requests. So can I use your Poisson disk sampling? Sure, absolutely. Why not? Be cool. Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, so thanks you guys, and I will see you next week.